And so I do that construction first. Then I come in and I do the iris. And that's the big circular part of the eye that has the color in it. And you want to watch and see how much white of the eye you can see. And so, you know, kind of look and see, you know, how far to go over here on your person, or I might have my tear duct a little bit too far there. So that's the first two steps. Then you look at the crease above, you know, you got an upper lid and you got a lower lid. That's what people forget. They just draw a line around the eye and leave it. But you got an upper, you know, you don't outline anything. I use some line to construct, but it's the shading that's going to make it look real. And I don't close anything up on the face with a line. You use soft shading. And so the next step then would be look at the crease in the upper lid and see what it's doing. Does the person even have a crease? Asian people don't even have a crease in the upper lid. It drops straight down from the brow into the eyelashes. So you look at your person. The age of the person is going to matter. Sometimes the crease in the upper lid just keeps an even distance all the way across here like that. An older person, the upper lid tends to sag. Yeah, that's the word I want. And you might see a split here, and then it might go over the top like this, and then it might split again over there. So you just watch what your person's eye looks like. And it's got a lower lid too, but we don't put that on with a line at all. That's all going to be the soft shadow that was in that eye socket I was talking about. So if you remember, we said that the whole eye is in shadow anyway, and we're not going to have as white. That was what Anne-Marie was having trouble with there. She sees too light whites of the eyes that are too light for, you know, what she has in the photo there. So that's what I mean if you put that eye socket in first. This eye socket gets really dark on the inside corner of the eye, so you can see me pressing hard now. And that shadow is going to kind of come around here on that side. My brow will start here. It will go the highest over the pupil of the eye, and it will taper out lighter towards the outside edge of the eye. The pupil will be right in here. And this is the inside corner of the eye, way in here. And that gets really dark, and it comes around, and it forms the lower lid. Let's go back to the first here and finish the construction here first before I go on. So I'm going to go with the crease in the lid that just stays the same distance all the way, you know, around the whole thing. I'll go with that one. Don't even have to erase that. It doesn't matter. We're not going to see it when we get done anyway. So then you got the pupil. And the pupil is really dark. But you do not want to just put this dot in there and leave it. We're going to put some more shading around and look more real. You'll see this thing become real. Usually touching the pupil somewhere, usually not always, depends on where your person is and what there's going to be a glint in the eye. If you're doing a portrait or something, usually you'll see that. And it can be any shape. Like this, you might have a big long line that breaks the iris and goes out into the white of the eye. Or it can be a smaller circle touching the pupil at either 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock. And so I'm going to put a little circle. In my watercolor, I would do this if I had to save the white of the paper. It might be a little smaller than my pupil. That'll help me to remember to save that for a glint. If it's not really light, I wouldn't even save it. You could always touch it again with if you had an opaque, you know, media. So anyway, you take that circle, and this is what you'll do in your shadow, Anne-Marie. You'll break the dark out of there, because that upper lid is going to shadow the whole upper part of the eye. While I'm doing that, I can build some lashes. And lashes are not to be done one by one. They are to be done in clumps. And they go out towards the outer corner of the eye. They go straight up over the pupil. And they get smaller and start slanting towards the inside over here. And so I'm keeping them in clumps, and as you can see, and I'm just kind of, you know, doing them right out of this pupil of this eye. I go in here and build the lashes in clumps. The color of the eye is never as dark as there's a little dark line around the iris. And it needs to be a soft line, not a real hard line, but kind of a soft line in here. And you have to watch what your person's doing, you know, which direction they're looking. You might not see the whole circle of the iris, sometimes that lower lid comes up and cuts part of that off. It might be flat on the bottom instead of round. Women know because we put mascara on, and there's that little rim that is always right before the iris, you know. Some people used to put eyeliner on that. Ooh, and it would end up in your eye. I put it underneath. My husband hides it. He thinks I need no makeup at all, but my mother always told me I don't have any eyelashes because I'm a redhead and I don't look well if I don't put makeup on. So since I was a teenager, I got to wear makeup because she thought I looked better, but my husband hides it. So, so anyway, I keep this nice and soft around here. The color of the eye is never as light as that, or I mean as dark, unless you've got somebody with really, really dark eyes. You might not see that line as much. And I have a feeling yours, Anne-Marie, are going to be so in the shadow. We're not going to quite see all this detail. And then we got another shadow over here on the outside part of the brow that you just bring right on around here, and it begins to create the lower lid on this side. Now, instead of closing up the bottom of the eye, we don't take a line and close anything up. Outlines. I don't teach contour drawing. I teach more realism, get you away from outlining and softening, you know. And so instead of drawing a line to find the bottom rim, just do the lashes and break the line. Just do a few little lashes to sort of suggest where the white, you can have a little bit of a line in the white for the other top part of that little ridge that we don't put the mascara on, yeah. And so you can have a little bit there, you know, to show, but I've left the little ridge, and the eyelashes get really tiny towards this inside corner here. But notice I didn't put a hard line. And then what you can do is, oh, I love this. This is one of those great tricks. You can put, you know how we were making the lines kind of arched in the bowl so that it didn't look flat? Well, your eye is a ball in a socket. So it's a round sphere, and you can put a real soft line through the center of it, and watch, all of a sudden. And what's happening too, really, is the upper lid sort of creates a shadow in the white of the eye. So the whites of the eyes are never pure white anyway. On a Caucasian person, they're a blue light. On an African American, they're a warm light. So you got cool or warm. You can't get too much yellow in there or look like jaundice. Yeah, you have to be careful, you know. But look what happens if I just put this glassy line through the center. I'm just glassing it through. Oh, all of a sudden it got wet. All of a sudden it got wet and glassy and round. And all that was just a real soft line through. I can even get rid of that light there because it's the upper lid that is shading the whites of the eyes. And so those are never pure white. Look at the realism. You see what I mean? And that's just